Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about bigorexia, which is again a body image disorder, also called muscle dysmorphia, but the slang term is bigorexia, and how it pertains to exercise addiction. Now, I know there's a lot of different facets to bigorexia. I mean, we have the poly-anabolic abuse issue and everything else, but that's a whole nother topic. There's no way I can address both of those in one video. That's just way too much. So let's talk today just about the exercise addiction component. And what I mean by the exercise addiction component are the people who are literally making sacrifices in their life in some way because they want to gain muscle so fast that they are lifting weights for 2 hours a day, 5 and sometimes even 6 days a week. And in particular, the guys who are trying to do that, who are doing it completely drug-free or on modest amounts of drugs in general, because they're absolutely not going to get the results they want doing that. And the reason I mention this is not because all exercise like that is bad. There are plenty of people who don't compete in anything at all, who are absolutely justified in maybe training 2 hours a day. But those are people who are generally trying to increase endurance, or trying to increase cardiovascular condition, or more importantly, people who really, really need to lose weight as a weight loss tool, because exercise in general for that amount of time every day is going to burn a tremendous amount of calories, not just weightlifting, but anything. It doesn't matter really. Any form of exercise that you enjoy is going to burn calories. I don't care if it's taking a brisk walk around the block for 2 hours or spending extra time lifting weights with lightweight and high reps or GBP work or anything. Large amounts of exercise burns large amounts of calories. No one's disputing that. So I'm not talking about as a weight loss tool or a weight control tool. I'm talking about guys who are doing it because they legitimately think they're going to gain extra muscle doing so. And the reality is they aren't. And if anything, they're going to impede their progress. And what I mean by impede their progress is guys who are training that much are actually tapping into their recovery so much that it's going to reduce the frequency at which they can train hard enough to stimulate new growth and stimulate new adaptations. It is just impossible for guys to train for 2 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week with any appreciable amount of intensity who can't recover fast enough to come in and train again frequently. So basically, if it's limiting the actual intensity or the workload density that they can produce in later workouts in the week because they're training with so much volume that they're not recovering, they're actually going to gain muscle slower than if they actually reduce their training. And I don't mean that they're overtraining per se, because overtraining syndrome is a whole separate thing. I just mean that they're not recovering enough to be able to train hard enough to stimulate new adaptation. And many of the guys who are doing this would actually gain muscle slightly faster, maybe 5, maybe in some cases even 10% faster if they actually cut back to like a fourth of what they're doing. If they were to cut back to an hour 3 times a week, most of these guys would actually probably find that they could gain muscle a little faster because they're going to be able to train harder on the days that they're training. So they're going to stimulate better adaptations with less frequency and still get enough frequency to maximize their gains. But these guys are doing this hoping to glean just a tiny, tiny advantage, and actually the reality is they're actually probably reducing their gains slightly with what they're doing. So the guys who are doing this for their mind to satisfy some obsession or OCD need to get in and train at the expense of actually gaining more muscle mass. So it's actually counterproductive. And the best way for guys to test this, rather than just assume that all of them have an issue that is exercise addiction, there's some ways to look at it that you could help someone determine if it really is. Because obviously not everyone who's doing this is doing it due to exercise addiction or even purely bigorexia. Some of them are doing it because they've been told that that's the way to train. There's plenty of YouTubers who are pushing this type of training out there. There are plenty of public figures pushing this type of training. And so a lot of guys are doing it because they honestly believe that it's going to give them slightly better results, even though it really isn't. So that's a little different. Now, that still might be signs of bigorexia developing if they are making sacrifices to do that. Some guys just simply have the free time and nothing else to do. They might have an easy time at school. Maybe they have a really easy major at college. They've got a scholarship, or mom and dad pay for their school. They don't work, and they simply have the free time to do it. What those people need to realize, though, is that they are not going to have that type of free time forever. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. But they have the free time right now. They're trying to maximize their gains. So they're doing this for 6 months or a year, maybe a year and a half while they're in school. And I get that. That's a little different. However, If it is costing them something, then it is a problem. It is a sign of a larger problem, meaning if it's reducing quality of life in some way. So let's say that once people get out of school, and this is an example of it reducing quality of life, there's no way you're going to be able to train 10 to 12 hours a week in the gym doing your lifts and actually have a balanced life. In some ways, if, say, you get out of school, they get a job that they're working a 50-hour work week. They want to have a social life and friends that they hang out with a couple times a week at least, and particularly like on the weekends, get out, socialize, do fun stuff, and actually have a relationship with a romantic partner, like an actual significant relationship, not someone they go on a date with once a week, but someone they have a real relationship with. They're going to find that they're going to have to sacrifice one of those things to maintain this training schedule. And if people are willing to sacrifice one of those things, whether it's their romantic relationships, whether it's their social life or their career or their family life, in order to facilitate this training schedule, then it's a sign of a problem, because it's actually being done to satisfy an OCD or an obsessive need, and actually isn't giving them the benefits that they want. It's not actually directly helping them do that. It's satisfying an obsession or a body image disorder to do that, and they're sacrificing one of these other areas, the quality of their life, to do so. Then that's really a problem. And if that is you, if you're one of the people who are falling into that, rather than just doing it because you're bored and have the free time, then this is something that you need to think about. That's a sign that is becoming a problem, that you actually do have a real problem that you need to see a counselor for. Because simply put, you're going to have to make a sacrifice somewhere else in your life once you get to that point with trying to juggle that many things to maintain that sort of training schedule oftentimes. And the truth is, you're doing so without actually getting the physical benefits that you want out of it. You might be burning through more calories so that you keep a lighter body weight. It'll help you get leaner. It might help you stay leaner, but it isn't going to help you gain muscle any faster. And if you're doing it to gain muscle, not for the other reasons, then okay, that's a problem. You're sacrificing other areas of your life for something that actually isn't real, that isn't actually going to help you. And that's therefore a problem. That obsession is interfering with quality of life. Another test would be when I tell you guys, hey, you could make just as much gains, if not more, training a fourth of that much time. If that upsets you or makes you nervous or anxious, the idea of only lifting weights 3 times a week give you anxiety or any sort of like emotional response, a negative emotional response, or the idea of missing a workout gives you a negative emotional response, and you're not like a serious competitive athlete who your career or something dramatically important in your life in some competitive endeavor depends on it, missing a workout like that, or having to cut a workout to halfway short, meaning, oh, you might have to get out of the gym in 30 minutes one day due to another scheduling conflict. When the truth is, missing one workout is absolutely not going to make one measurable bit of difference in your gains over the course of a month. And we know this from plenty of data over the years out there, and looking at the way the body adapts, it won't make one tiny bit of difference at all. Nothing. So if it's actually giving you anxiety, even the thought of it, or definitely when it's happened, then again, this is a sign of exercise addiction. And if this is based upon the fact that you think you're going to lose gains, muscle gains, that it's going to cost you muscle to do that, that is actually a delusional idea. It's not actually true. It's not real, but it's causing you anxiety based upon it. Then it's very possible that you are developing bigorexia, or you now have it. And again, this is something that people need to assess and maybe get counseling for, because the thing is, it's one thing to have a desire and a drive to do something or achieve something. It's another thing when that desire to do that thing becomes unrealistic, and it becomes unrealistic in a way that causes you anxiety, stress, or reduces your quality of life in some way. And that's what we're talking about, because fitness and training should be there to enhance not just your health and your physical fitness, but to enhance your mental and emotional quality of life. And if you developed an obsession with these things that is negatively hurting either your health and fitness or your emotional or mental quality of life, or your social quality of life, then it's becoming a problem, and it's something that you need to address, not because I said you need to address it, not because I'm telling you you need to address it, but because you'll be happier and better off and have a higher quality of life, you personally, if you do so. It's not about because Jason Blaha said to do it. It's about the fact that you will be happier, more fulfilled as a person if you go and do so. If you've developed an exercise addiction based upon bigorexia or a serious body image disorder like that, and you go address that and get help with it and a counselor, then you are actually going to be happier and more fulfilled as a person. And that's what lifting weights and training should be about. Mental and physical, improved quality of life and well-being. That's what this is all about. That's the end game. That's what we're trying to achieve, all of us, by doing this. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.